my guest has been to heaven and to hell. When he describes heaven, many of you will literally feel the atmosphere of heaven as if you were there too. Next. Well, I stood right here with Ryan Brush. Ryan was a producer for how many years, Ryan?
Oh, 6, 7, somewhere in there.
6 or 7 years for It's Supernatural. And God has just promoted him full-time into his own ministry, and I rejoice over it. But I didn't know this, but I just found out Ryan had an encounter in hell.
I did, yes,
What
sir.
happened?
It was the most incredible thing that I've ever felt physically in a negative way. I had an angel of the Lord in the middle of the night take me to a place in hell. It was a room, so to speak. I've seen the fires of hell in other encounters, but this was no fire. He opened the door.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
do you feel like you were literally there?
Oh yeah, I was there. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you know, like Paul said, in the body, out of the body, I don't know, but I was there because this angel grabbed me and brought me. Here's the most extraordinary thing. When the door was open, I fell on my back. I mean, I slammed to the ground. And Sid, if I was laying on the ground right now and this sounds a little odd, but if you were to take a vehicle and slowly lay it on my chest, you know, that feeling that eventually it would crush me. That feeling, the Lord spoke to me, that's what it feels like to be completely abandoned by God. When there's no hope. In hell, there's no hope.
You know, you've talked about hell.
Yeah.
You've read about hell.
Yeah.
But I have noticed when someone experiences it, they become a different person and far more passionate that others don't end up there.
Sid, I feel like tearing up right now. I'm just telling you, I had the feeling of what it's like when you go to hell and you have no second chance. It's hopeless. You're abandoned by God. Now, he didn't send you there. You send yourself to hell. But when you're there, I felt that crushing, I can never get out. I'm here forever. And the Lord just wanted me to experience that because I'm an evangelist at heart.
So hopeless for the person.
It's completely hopeless. That's why, you know, as a pastor and evangelist, I do everything I can to make sure people aren't going there. It's yes, there'll be torment and there'll be all those things, but one of the greatest torments is you're never going to be receive a touch from God ever in your life again. You're never going to be able to cry out. You're never going to feel love. Nothing. Complete hopelessness. A complete abandoned by God.
How long do you think you were there?
It was for several moments, long enough to where I'm like, this is enough.
Did you see the suffering there?
I saw, here's the sad thing, Sid. I saw people there I knew that are still alive today. And so,
Wow.
yeah. So,
can you imagine if you had that type of an encounter, how it would revolutionize your life? I sure can imagine.
It puts the fear of God in you. You don't want anything to do with hell, anything to do with the demonic, nothing to do with, it's like I want to live on fire for God every day of my life.
Apa yang tampilkan oleh video ini untuk menjangkau jiwa-jiwa banyak berbalik kepada Tuhan Yesus Tuhan kita Kristus. Semoga video ini bermanfaat. Silakan lanjut menonton. Tuhan Yesus memberkati.
But then God gave you an encounter in heaven. Now, was this as literal as the hell?
It was as literal, in direct contrast. And I've been privileged to have several encounters in heaven. And this one, Sid, was so incredible. Again, in the body, out of the body, I don't know. And I'm taken up to heaven, and I'm standing on this beautiful grassy area in heaven. Now, I felt every fruit of the Spirit 100% maxed out in me all at the same time. I felt what it was like to feel 100% love, 100% joy, not 1 ounce of discouragement, depression, not 1 ounce of anger and peace, 100%. So I'm standing there feeling the fruit of the Spirit. And so when you're in heaven, and again, I'm privileged, and many are going to start encountering heaven more and more, the Lord showed me even after this broadcast. And when you're in heaven, the euphoric feeling that you feel, I don't know how else to describe it, is so beautiful and wonderful. It's like you take your breath, and it's like every breath you take is better than the one before. So anyway, when I was in heaven, there was some stress going on in my life at the time. So when the Lord brought me up to show me, but son, this is what peace is like, the peace of heaven. And you remember Jesus said, pray this way, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So we can have the God kind of peace. So I'm standing there in heaven, and I tried, Sid, to think a confusing thought. I tried to, with everything in me, I tried to be like, what am I worried about? What am I stressed over? And nothing comes into your mind. Nothing. It's impossible in heaven. There's no stress. There's no anxiety. And so the Lord, when I came out of that experience, I mean, I was buzzing for days, But when I came out of that experience, I'm like, you know what? We go through more in this life than we have to. All we have to do is tap into what heaven has for us. The Bible, the scriptures, the Bible's full of the peace of God. He keeps those in perfect peace whose minds are stayed on thee, and so on and so forth. But when we tap into the heaven kind of peace, it changes the way we live here on earth in love and joy and everything else. And here's the thing. I feel like even now that the people that are watching at home are going to feel, like Sid said in the open, the presence of heaven. I feel it rushing through me right now. That you right now, my friend, are feeling the very atmosphere of heaven. Whatever you need, the joy of the Lord, the love of the Father, the peace of God is coming through right now into where you're watching this. And I pray that you receive that you just receive it. There you go. Just receive it. Receive that heaven's peace. You see that? To Jesus, there's no cares, there's no worry, there's no stress. And Father, I speak that peace over everybody watching right now in Jesus' name.